Ouija boards supposedly turn to the afterlife for answers, though as these YouTubers have found, you may not always like what's waiting to be found on the other side. Number 12. Mikey Mance. After a full day of hanging out with his friends and joking around, Mikey Mance decides to get serious and play with a Ouija board in a supposedly haunted tunnel at the local state park. Things don't go exactly as planned. He and his crew spend most of the night dodging park rangers, and it's already 5 in the morning by the time they set up. Cars also still drive through this tunnel, so, aside from getting busted by rangers, they are also worried about getting run over. What's really weird is how a car comes by literally every time Mikey asks if any spirits are near. This happens on about 3 or 4 separate occasions, and I have to admit that the timing is quite odd. Anyway, they are becoming a little frustrated by the suddenly high volume of traffic and decide to ask a question one more time. At the far end of the tunnel comes an unexpected response that leaves them terrified. They peel out of the tunnel without properly ending the session by pointing over, "Goodbye." This means that whatever they summoned was never returned to its own realm, or at least that what happens according to the Ouija legend. Either way, let me know if you think Mikey and his friends really did summon a ghost, or if it was just someone they knew wearing a costume. Number 11. A YouTuber named Chaos Prodigy and his friends gather around a Ouija board deep in the woods late at night. They are completely alone and surrounded by nothing but wilderness as they place their fingers on the pointer and invite any nearby spirits to guide them. Not much happens for a while until they ask if a spirit is around and get a sarcastic "no" in response. The spirit is in the middle of spelling its name when all of a sudden they are interrupted by something off camera. There's some sort of banging noise in the distance, and that's enough of a reason for them to end the session early. This video is unfortunately way too short to tell if they were hearing something paranormal or just some local wildlife. Maybe if they had stuck around for longer they could have had more questions answered, but at the same time I can't exactly blame them for leaving as fast as possible. Number 10. Jessie Sims and her friend use a Ouija board only to discover they are surrounded by 3 spirits. She claims to get dizzy and asks if it's a good spirit she's talking to. The spirit gives them a negative response, so Jessie fights her panic and asks, The pointer stays over, "No. It's not Zozo after all." Still, they both have a bad feeling, so they decide to ask, The ghost responds. A short while later, Jessie's nose begins to gush red. Number 9. Ashley Ortega and her friend Corey are making a video about how to play with a Ouija board. Ashley claims to have had some bad experiences with the board before and is hesitant about trying it again, but curiosity gets the best of her and they start asking questions. After a while they think they're communicating with an 84-year-old male spirit who refuses to provide much information. It seems to select letters at random or doesn't respond at all, but Ashley knows something is near and starts shaking. It then correctly tells Ashley how old she is and says that it watches her. They continue to ask for more information and get some predictions about Ashley's future. It's impossible to verify if these predictions will come true or not. However, this does happen shortly before they conclude the session. Let me know if you've had anything similar happen to your nose while playing with a Ouija board. Number 8. A YouTuber named Maximus and his friends are playing with a Ouija board in the shed. At first they can't stop goofing around for long enough to take it seriously, but as time goes on they start to concentrate more on the board and less on making jokes. They laugh wildly to cover up the mounting tension as they realize a ghost might actually be near. Unlike most of the videos, nothing happens for a long time and the pointer stays completely still. They go back to making sarcastic jokes until another event gives them pause. They are still acting like they don't care very much, but they decide to leave the shed just in case something is watching them. There's something about this video and their excitedly skeptical reactions that seems very genuine to me. Number 7. A YouTuber named Hunting the Dead dares to play with a Ouija board inside of his own home. Aside from using the board ITSELF, he also has a ghost hunting device which scans different frequencies for any signs of the paranormal. He begins asking questions out loud and it isn't long before he gets a fairly clear response. The spirit then begins highlighting the same number 3 times in a row. Hunting the Dead soon finds out exactly who this spirit is and what it wants. Shortly afterwards, Hunting the Dead begins to feel gravely ill and needs to go to the hospital. Number 6. A YouTuber named Jerry Wells and a housemate sit across from each other while playing with a Ouija board. Apparently they have been experiencing strange paranormal disturbances around the home for some time and now they're turning to the Ouija board for answers. Look closely and you can see the board quivering unnaturally as they speak. Jerry Wells asks what it wants, and BLOOD is the reply, followed by a metaphysical reaction. If this is fake, then I have no idea how they did this. You can clearly see underneath the table the entire time, so it's not magnets, and I don't see a string either. If you don't believe this is paranormal, then let me know how they managed to make the board shake and jump straight up into the air. Number 5. A YouTuber named Danny Wyland 9 records some very strange happenings during a candlelit Ouija session. About 6 minutes into the video, the pointer begins going wild seemingly on its own. They try to end the session multiple times, but apparently each time the spirit refuses to let them. The spirit eventually reveals itself to be named Abigail. They ask it to physically reveal itself a few times but nothing happens, so they decide to try and end the session. Abigail, however, seems to have other plans for them. Finally, the force holding back the pointer is released and they're able to move it over. Goodbye. I honestly can't tell if Danny Wyland 9 was doing this himself or if a spirit was doing this instead, so I'm interested in hearing your thoughts as to the authenticity of this video. Number 4. A YouTuber named Jeff Saxton is playing with his Ouija board all alone one Friday night. He asks if any spirits are around him and immediately gets a positive response. He contemplates quitting but decides he owes it to his viewers to keep going. He's in the middle of asking some routine questions when all of a sudden this happens. His pointer slips away and something knocks over his camera. Jeff Saxton steadies the camera and refocuses it on 3 tiny claw marks now adorning his right arm. It's hard to say if these are fresh marks or just old scratches from a cat or something like that, so give me your best guess as to whether this video is real or fake. Number 3. Beyond this fence lays an abandoned asylum that a YouTuber named TGF Bro and his friends badly want to explore. The inside looks like a tattered mansion on the verge of collapse. Strange noises follow them as they progress deeper into the interior of the asylum. When they get deep enough, TGF Bro pulls out a Ouija board and begins directing questions to whoever or whatever is near. The group hears a loud bang directly behind them and they all take off. I noticed that the third person was off camera though, so maybe that person made the commotion and then acted scared. Then again, old asylums are supposed to be notoriously haunted, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Ouija board really did bring spirits near. Number 2. Rob and Adri is the name of a YouTube channel with an interesting Ouija board experiment at 3 a.m. They try to get the ghost to spell its name, but the session gets off to a bad start after they complain about how slow the ghost is at spelling. This seems to aggravate the spirit and it asks to speak with Rob's twin brother Stephen by spelling his name over and over again. The spirit goes on to profess that it does not have good intentions for his brother Steve. After a while the Ouija board stops spelling Stephen long enough to spell out Zozo instead. They eventually end the session properly and even get assured that they will be left alone in the future. But it seems as though Zozo may have been luring them into a false sense of security. As they are leaving they see a rattlesnake nearby and it seems to be paying special attention to Stephen. Rob and Adri are convinced that Zozo was sending them a warning sign in the form of a serpent, but I think this could just be a coincidence. Let me know what you think. Before we get to number 1, I'd really appreciate it if you followed me and feel free to send me a DM if you have questions or suggestions. If you'd like to see more of these videos in the future, then hit that subscribe button because I upload a new video every day. Number 1. A YouTuber named Stromedy and a friend journey into a maze of tunnels deep underground to conjure the spirit of a girl who supposedly had her life forcibly taken down there long ago. They don't appear to be very serious in the beginning, but their attitude soon changes when they think they've summoned a relatively friendly spirit named Abby. Then roughly 9 minutes into the video they feel another presence enter and this happens. They briefly consider leaving, but then Kyle volunteers to look through the middle of the pointer instead. Earlier Abby said that whoever does this would be able to see her true form. Kyle bravely puts the pointer to his eye and peers into the unknown. I think his reaction seems fairly genuine, but let me know if you agree or not. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because I upload a new video every day. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of my other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy.